I just have to faithfully all my life. Oh Lord, champion maker, Jonathan in maker, make me yes, I just have to faithfully all my life. Oh Lord, champion maker, Jonathan in maker. Yeah.
This episode of Hustle Faithfully podcast was brought to you by Slingshot's book, 13 Powerful Catapults for Life Transformation. Get your copy today at bit.ly/slingshots-Amazon. Again, that's bit.ly/slingshots-Amazon for your copy of Slingshots, 13 Powerful Catapults for Life Transformation. Hello and welcome to Hustle Faithfully podcast. He's Ricardo.
And this gentleman is Jonathan. Hey guys, thank you for joining us today on this episode of Sabotage. What is the suggestions of sabotage? This is a continuation of the last conversation we had on the last episode where we talked about overestimating. This one, we're going to get into comparing ourselves, or comparison. The text that we're going to use today to hinge our discussion off of is 2 Corinthians 10 and 12. It reads, "We do not dare to classify or compare ourselves with some who commend themselves, and when they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they show their ignorance." That scripture is an important one to understand what it is or what it means and how fruitless it is to compare ourselves to ourselves, but also to compare ourselves among ourselves. So, Jonathan, what angle did you want to take, or what approach did you want to take as far as talking about comparison? Do you want to talk about our comparing ourselves to others, or comparing our present selves to our old selves, or what direction do you want to take with this discussion?
Comparing ourselves against others is very important to not do.
Yeah.
You want to have somebody to look up to. You want to have somebody to compare against in the sense of the progression, the daily, the weekly, the monthly progression of your goals, of your task, of your life. Yet, you cannot compare your chapter 100 against somebody else's chapter 10 or chapter 100.
Right.
You see, we are all at different stages of life in everything we're doing. I have some people that work for me. One of them just had a beautiful little baby boy. He's 2 months old now. And I've let her know, hey, anything you need, you just let us know. We'll help you out. And she said, I'll probably need some parenting advice. Here's the thing. I have 6 kids. I have 3 boys and 3 girls. So she cannot compare that with, being a mother of a newborn 2-month-old to somebody with multiple kids. Somebody that has multiple kids cannot compare themselves against somebody that has more kids. It's not a comparison thing of, I have more, so I'm better. I have more, so I know more. It's not that. It's a thing of reaching out and saying, hey, you have been through this, so how can you help me with what I'm going through? And that was an example of raising children.
Yeah.
It's the same concept of being a friend or your relationship or your spiritual life.
Right.
Or your business. It's all about finding those who have what you want and mirroring and matching what they do to gain same or similar results. You're comparing yourself against them in the way of they have the life that you want, whether that be physical life, spiritual life, business life, whatever.
Mhm.
But yet you're not comparing yourself saying, oh, I don't measure up.
Right. Right.
You know, I'm a new gym transplant, meaning I had just really started getting hard and heavy into the gym. Yeah, baby. And although I see growth in my body,
Yeah.
massive changes in my body,
Mm-hmm.
if I was to go to the gym and look at some of the other guys in the gym, where their arms are twice the size of my arms, and their traps make it look like an eclipse if they walk in between me and the sun.
Right.
If I was to look at that, I would get very discouraged.
Yeah.
Yet when you realize where you are at in the progression, you realize, hey, what can I learn from these people?
Right.
Instead of comparing I'm probably 4 months in, they're probably multiple years in.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot compare my gains, my progression against theirs when they've been doing it for many, many years, and I've been doing it just for a few months.
Right.
And when you look at the comparison of life, and you realize you look and you compare just in the way of motivation, but you keep your eyes on the goal, you keep your eyes in focus, you keep your eyes on exactly where you're headed. The comparison of they have more, they are more, they do better, they've accumulated much.
Right.
That starts to fall by the wayside.
It does. It does. It can prove really hollow and shallow when we don't really have a baseline, a true baseline for what our value is.
Right.
You know, and so if you don't have a baseline, you will find things and find ways to compare yourself to, or find individuals to compare yourself to, even your past life or your old life.
Right.
And it's not necessarily bad to compare yourself to your old self in the sense of when you have, let's say, like working out, exercising. For me, I was in a lot better shape years ago, but there's a way that I can compare myself to that's constructive, and one is real destructive.
Mm-hmm.
One is, hey, I've done it before, I can do it again. The other is, man, I'll never get back to that.
Right.
I'll never be able to do that again. Maybe that isn't what I need to do again. You know, so there's like right now, I don't need bulk. I don't need to be that size because I'm not playing sports. I was playing sports then. Now I'm just concerned with being healthy and strong, with being fit and looking good, you know? So that whole thing of comparing yourself, there's a way to do it that's positive, that propels you forward, because it motivates you and lets you know, hey, I've done this, I've accomplished this, I've overcome that before, I can do it again.
Right.
And then there's another that can seem really daunting, like, man, how did I do that then? I don't have the ability to do that now, because you don't see in yourself now what it took to get to that point then, that same level of motivation or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, what is your baseline? You know, for us, our baseline for how we see ourselves as believers should always be the word of God. What does the word say about us? Doesn't matter what he said or what I said, what you said, what they say about us. What is the baseline? What does he say about us?
Right.
We all have a different or a divergent path from that same word, where God leads us in our own direction, in our own paths for the good of the whole. But there's still a baseline for where we stand and how we see ourselves based on that baseline.
For sure.
So for you, Jonathan, I want to ask you a quick question. What is your baseline?
My baseline is I am fearfully and wonderfully made. My baseline is if I can see myself the way that God sees me, everything will be good. You know, you go and you start looking for exterior validation. You start looking for others to validate who you are. You're going to fall short.
Yeah, you will.
I just recently had somebody talk about how I haven't proven myself to a certain group of people. And it really hit home with me. Not because it bothered me, but it bothered somebody that is very close to me and very near and dear to me. And when I pointed out the fact that I don't have to prove myself to them.
Right.
There is nothing about my life that says that I have to prove myself in any way, shape, form, or fashion to them. It's very free. When I know that God sees me a certain way, it doesn't matter to me how someone else sees me.
Right.
Now, at the same time, yes, I do care about how people view me. The whole difference is the fact that I am confident in who God says I am. I am confident in who I know I am. And it is not my job to prove my worth to everybody that's in my life.
Right. Right.
It's just like when you are marketing a business, you're not going to catch all the fish.
Right.
When you're a salesman, saleswoman, you're not going to close every sale. Every fish is not yours for the taking. However, when you realize the value that you bring to the table, the value that you bring to your clients, to your customers, to your listeners, to your viewers, and you keep pouring in day after day, week after week, year after year, and you change and you impact lives, that's when the comparison, you realize how minimal and how unimportant it is.
Yeah.
Because you can be that person that has an accomplishment and you want to go off and you want to tell it to the whole world. You want to get on all social media. You want to get on every podcast you can and tell everybody about, look at me, look at the greatness that I just did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Celebrate for your 15 seconds or 15 minutes of fame, whatever it's called.
15 seconds nowadays.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Celebrate. Enjoy it. Yet when you have those incremental gains, and you may or may not tell anybody about it.
Right.
But then you look back and all of a sudden you're the overnight success. What people don't realize is that overnight success took years or many times decades to accomplish. But yet you're not out there comparing yourself. You're not out there looking for the validation of everyone for everything you do. Then all of a sudden you turn back and you're like, wow, where did all of this come from?
Yeah.
It's the daily relentless pursuit that you put in to achieve your dreams, to achieve your goals, and to keep going and to hustle faithfully.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And everything you said about that overnight success, that idea that people have that something can be an overnight success. I guess if you want to be technical, you can say, yeah, it was overnight, but it was a lot of overnight strung together. Right. You know, it wasn't just simply overnight. You know, I had to do this continuously. I had to do this consistently for years upon years. It took a lot of time, took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It took a lot of investing in me in order to get this thing to where it is right now. For you to see what you see, this product is a byproduct of all these things that happen off camera, right, or off scene. It's that same thing we've talked about with seed in the ground, with things going down before they go up. The going down is all the years that were hidden, all the work that went on that wasn't publicized, all the things you did not see that I had to go through. Yeah, you see the fine linen, you see all the things, the nice things that I do. You see me being able to take family on vacation, you see me being able to do all these things. But what you didn't see was me sitting in the corner questioning myself. What you didn't see was me sitting somewhere trying to figure out how I'm going to make this happen and how I'm going to take care of my family. What you didn't see is me having to encourage myself because I was so discouraged in the midst of all this and wanting to quit. But my why was too great for me to quit.
That's right.
I could justify quitting on myself, but I couldn't open the door to my home and look in that room and justify quitting on my wife and my kids. You know, it's those things that people don't see that continue to push you and push you and push you and push you and push you until you finally break through that thing that's got your head scarred and caused you to bleed because you kept hitting your head on that lid, but you refused to quit.
Right.
You keep going until you punch through. And so that's the thing that we have to continue doing, because someone else's journey may look like a hit and break through. Mine may look like a constant banging of my head, you know, and you say you may as well give up. No, because I'm not comparing mine to yours.
That's right.
Because your journey is not mine. So it's so important to know your own journey and to know where, once again, we talked about baseline. That only happens where you're in constant consultation with God who created you, who knows the direction your life is supposed to take, who knows the plans that he has. And when I say knows the plan, it's like an architect or someone who designs a building. They know how it's supposed to look. This home does not look like the home across the street, but they both look like the plans that were created for them. So don't try to build this home with those plans. You'll never get this out of it. You can only have a bad imitation of a perfect original. That's what we are. So even at our worst, we're the best us the world will ever have.
Mm-hmm.
So know your plans, know your journey, compare your life to what God has created and what your life is supposed to look like, and then you will achieve the thing that architect initially prescribed for your life.
I love how you put that. You said compare it against the architect for your life. Compare it against God who created you.
Yeah.
That's so much deeper than comparing your life's journey against your quote unquote competitor.
Yeah.
And when you understand that competition happens at the bottom and collaboration happens at the top,
yeah,
you look for those rooms, you look for those groups, you look for those people to get in with, to collaborate with instead of to compete.
Right.
You look for thought-provoking change situations where you can go in and you can network with people that are going to help grow you.
Yeah.
And instead of them comparing themselves against you, instead of you comparing yourself against them, you all grow together. You all continue to expand and reach those next levels daily.
Well, the thing is, what you're saying is you have to continue to be steadfast in doing all the work necessary in order for the thing that you have in front of you or you're believing for to become a reality. You have to continue to doing the legwork. You have to continue pressing in and pressing through. And that means that you have to understand that your sense of self and your net worth or your worth comes from, and I keep going back to this because it's so important in the world that we live in. People are wanting to point you more towards everything and anything other than God. And I'm telling you, that's where you need to be. That's where you need to be pointed back to.
Sorry.
Because there's no other direction that you can go that would lead you to the ultimate destination that you were actually placed here for than to be on route with the one whose GPS never fails. And that's our God. That's our Lord and Savior. That is our creator. That GPS never fails you. It'll always take you in the right direction. And the one thing we have to do is in a moment where it says rerouting, because we've chosen to get off the exit too soon. We've chosen to go in a direction that we shouldn't have gone. We will now take the wheel again. So no, I know where I want to go. Yeah, you know where you want to go, but you don't know where you're supposed to go. You know, you're comparing the direction we're going in now and the route we're taking to what your ideas were of what this should look like, without you really knowing what the ultimate destination is. That's where faith comes in, where I have faith in what God has shown and what God has said, so that in a moment where he reroutes me on this journey, that I don't question him. The question has to be with me and my idea of what I thought this looked like. And to continue trusting him. I can question me all day, but what I can't do is trust me and question him.
Right.
You know, when he says reroute, when he says, Jonathan, stop doing what you're doing and do this, stop pressure washing and do this, stop those other business ventures you have and do this, then you're like, Lord, that doesn't look like what my life is supposed to look like. I have this going on. I'm doing that. I'm successful here. He's saying, well, you don't know where I'm trying to take you. You don't know where I want you to go. Right. You don't know what I placed in you, that this is actually limiting you from getting all of what I have for you. So you have to be rerouted and trust where I'm taking you.
That's right. That's right. And it's scary at times when that happens, Because not only are you going through a big shift and a big change, you're going through an identity crisis.
Ooh, yes, sir.
When you are being taken from one job, from one career that everybody has linked with you,
Mm-hmm.
and you are doing something completely different, you go through an identity crisis.
Yeah.
What is, especially as men, when we meet somebody new, what is the first question that we typically ask?
What do you do?
What do you do? You automatically get linked with what you do, not who you are.
Yep. Yeah.
And so when people have gotten used to you being this or being that,
Mm-hmm.
when people have gotten used to you pressure washing and painting, and now all of a sudden you are doing a completely different line of work.
Yeah.
People question it. People close to you question it. And at times you yourself question it.
Mm-hmm.
But yet when you back up and you know that you know that you know that God has called you to do something new, when you know that your life, like Ricardo just said, is meant for so much more, and that job, that career is holding you back and it's limiting you.
Yeah.
When you break free from it,
Man.
it's freeing.
Yes, sir.
When you break free from it and you move on and you move up, that's the important part. Man, your life changes. Yet you cannot look and compare what you're going through to what somebody else is going through.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people. Take this podcast as an example. We are new.
Yeah, we are.
Yet in our time of doing this, before we ever aired our first episode, we recorded many.
Yeah, we did.
Before we ever aired our first episode, we were on the phone with other podcasters, finding out exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it. We were on the phone with other podcasters swapping out. So we'll be on theirs. They'll be over here with us. Again, you collaborate. It's not about competition. We have other podcasts that we will be sponsoring, and they will be sponsoring us very, very soon. And as you know, this podcast, we incorporate faith into everything. You hustle faithfully. We have another podcast that we are very close with. One reason is because Ricardo is also on that podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Corner Men. Tell us in the next few seconds a little bit about Corner Men and how it is very similar to Hustle Faithfully, yet it's completely different than Hustle Faithfully at the same time.
Yeah. The Corner Men podcast is geared mostly towards empowering men, because at the end of the day, the communities, the home, the churches, and all that we have that we're meant to steward over is supposed to be led by the male figure in the home.
Right.
And a lot of times men are in a place, because of the nature of where we are in society right now, men aren't getting the attention when it comes to the things that we talk about that are difficult to talk about, are difficult to deal with. We don't have the platform to really talk about and unpack those things.
Right.
So a corner man in a boxing analogy is the one that sees the way that the enemy is attacking you, see where you're weak, and comes to your aid and tells you, hey, you're weak here, or you're suffering there, or you're getting hit by this in your blind spot, and calls it out. And then we talk about it. And so we spend more time talking about that aspect and these areas where we might be comparing ourselves in ways, and we have this self-deprecating idea of ourselves that's toxic to the family, toxic to business, and toxic to our communities. It's a great place for us to talk and for us to get healthy for discussions like what we have now, when we talk about biblical principles and business principles and how now to make your life better as a whole as you get healthy.
That's right. And see, we are in collaboration with that particular group, the Corner Men.
Yeah.
Instead of competition.
Right.
We have a lot more of a business flair to ours, where we like to incorporate comparison into business.
Right.
Whereas they are more so just strictly faith and stuff like that, which is great.
Right.
We incorporate both because we are businessmen ourselves.
Right.
And so we love the idea of giving you little nuggets
Mhm.
that you can take about comparison and how you use it to your advantage in business.
Right.
You look at somebody and you compare to say, okay, I can get better in this way. But then again, at the same time, you do not compare, because when you have your eyes on your competition, you don't have your eyes on your goal. You keep your eyes on your goal. You keep your eyes on how to advance forward. Competition falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
No matter how big or small they are. So always keep your eyes on the goal, because guess what? The competition, they're going to have their eyes on you, which means they don't have their eyes on the goal. Bring them along. Let them learn from you. You don't even have to really give the attention per se to the competition. They're watching, they're learning, and that's great, because competition does fuel business. Competition makes it stronger, makes it better.
And I think the thing that we have to really remember is that the greatest competition that we should ever have is the competition we have with ourselves. And why is that? Is if I'm going to collaborate with others, then I can't be in direct competition with them. But what I need to do is I need to be in competition with my last best. Like, what was the best that I've done? Like yesterday, I want to be better than yesterday.
Yeah.
I want to learn more so that I have higher business acumen than I did yesterday. I need to be a better version of myself from one day and 1 week, 1 month to the next. That's the competition, because I'm always fighting to be the best me. I don't have to fight to be the best you, because once again, we've said this in other podcast episodes. On my best day, my best efforts will always make me a substandard you if you're my view. I can never be you, no matter how successful I am. I'll just be the best me that I can be, but not ever be the best you. So it's one of those things where, do I know who I am? We're talking about an identity crisis. Part of that crisis is not knowing who the heck you are, so you don't know who to be in competition with. So you fight against help, and then you help the one that's fighting you.
There you go.
Like, that's crazy, but that's what we do a lot of times, and we end up creating situations where, because our perspective is wrong, we end up looking at something that's a rut like it's a grave, because the only difference between the two is the length. So if I look at where I am as a grave, then all my hopes and dreams are buried. But if I look at this, I'm in a rut. This is something where I'm in this place, and I've been there for a long time. This doesn't have to be a burial. I may be doing it wrong, but I can get out of this. But in a grave, you can't.
Right.
You're done. Your dreams, your hopes are all done. So perspective means a lot, because you can look at a rut as a grave, and everything is over with. It's dead. Seed in the ground, done. No growth, no fruit, nothing.
The most valuable place in this world is a graveyard.
Man.
How many hopes, dreams, and desires have gone there and died?
Right.
People sat back and didn't tell their story. People sat back and didn't do what they knew they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
That would have impacted and changed so many lives.
Right. Wow. Who was the Elon Musk before Elon Musk was Elon Musk?
There you go.
I mean, I don't know what their name it could have been, but there's somebody who had something, and there's people that have something right now. Like 20 years ago, who knew who he was, and even who Jeff Bezos was, any of these other guys who are hyper successful now. There's someone right now who's sitting on a couch. There's someone right now who's somewhere writing right now. There's someone riding in a car who doesn't believe that they can accomplish what it is they've set their mind to accomplish. Look at the early pictures of what Amazon looked like in Jeff Bezos' garage. Look at that not made for TV banner that he had, and that desk and all those things. Think about that humble beginning and what the Bible to other people that were successful already at that time, like Michael Dell and what was the guy in Microsoft, Bill Gates and all that. They were already successful. If he had compared what he had and what he was doing to all these guys that were already making money and were already doing these big things, and he tried to be them, he would have never succeeded at being him.
That's right.
Because he spent more time trying to be them.
Right. And when you get past the comparison of everybody else, And when you get into your own element, like Ricardo said, are you the next Elon Musk? Are you the next president of the US? Are you the next president of whatever country you're tuning in here from?
Mm-hmm.
Are you the next world leader or global leader?
Right.
Yet you're sitting on your couch or you're driving in your car listening now to a dead-end job that you absolutely hate, and you just see no way out. Lift your eyes. There's a way out. What that is for you remains to be told. Reach out to us here at Hustle Faithfully. We're here for everybody that tunes in, that listens, that watches.
Yeah.
We are here for your ultimate success. And if you need the person to believe in you, hey, we've got you there.
Yeah.
We actually have a daily text communication that will just remind you each and every day of how wonderful and how awesome and how amazing you are. Because, you know, every day, motivation, everyday inspiration is just like taking a bath. You don't do it one time and you're done.
Right.
You do it day in and day out, every single day of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you feel like it's over, when you feel like there's nothing more, when you feel like giving up and giving in, sometimes all you need is to tune in and listen to Hustle Faithfully.
Yeah.
Sometimes all you need to do is reach out to another one of our sponsors, Thought Provoking Change, at thoughtprovokingchange.com, and get involved with a community. Get involved with those that are not there to compete against you.
Right.
They're there to collaborate with you, to see you win, to see you achieve your ultimate success. Reach out to us. My name is Jonathan Ellis. I am the Champion Maker. My goal in life is to connect with you and to help you unleash the champion that is within.
And I am Ricardo McNeely. I don't have a amazing name like Jonathan does, but my goal is similar. My goal is to impact the lives of everyone that God places me in front of, whether it's face to face like me and Jonathan are, or whether it's on a podcast and on YouTube or any other social media platform. It's to impact the lives of other people and use all the things that He's given me, all the experiences that I've had that He's taught me through and grown me out of, to help other people find hope in what seems to be a hopeless situation, to find joy and joylessness, to find their way out of situations where they have turned what seemed like a rut at one time into a grave, to where they have buried their hopes and buried their dreams and can't find a way to reestablish or restart that thing which is seemingly dead. But you know what? God can resurrect those things that seem dead in your life. So my goal is to help you understand what that looks like and help you to find that hope, to help you find that get up from that place you've laid down. So I hope that you would tune in. Me and Jonathan both hope that you would tune in and you will listen. We do one-on-ones with people that are wanting one-on-ones. We welcome your comments in the comments. Let us know what you all desire to hear, what you all need, because we read them and we will talk about those things that are important to you all. So feel free, ask questions. If you don't agree with something we say something. Like I said, we're here to help. We're not here to just act as if we know it all, because we don't know it all. We are in those rooms, me and Jonathan, where we're ready and willing and able to learn and then to share and pour out of what we've learned. So thank you all for joining us today on the Hustle Faithfully podcast.
This episode of Hustle Faithfully podcast was brought to you by Slingshot's book, 13 Powerful Catapults for Life Transformation. Get your copy today at bit.ly/slingshots-Amazon. Again, that's bit.ly/slingshots-Amazon for your copy of Slingshots, 13 Powerful Catapults for Life Transformation.
Thank you for listening to Hustle Faithfully. Be sure to tune in next Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, for another inspirational word from Jonathan Ellis, the champion maker, and Ricardo McNeely. Again, that is next Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, with Hustle Faithfully. Until then, stay positive, stay motivated. Much love.